Denver, I want to let you guys know about some dates. I will be at Comedy Works South, November 21st through the 23rd. Go to ryansickler.com. Get your tickets now. Let's have some fun out there. This episode of The HoneyDEW is brought to you by Upstart. More on that later. Let's get into the do.
You're watching The HoneyDEW with Ryan Sickler at your mom's house.
Welcome back to The HoneyDEW, y'all. We're over here at Studio Jeans doing it at your mom's house. I'm Ryan Sickler. As always, I'm Ryan Sickler on social media, ryansickler.com. Head over to my website, check out my out-of-town dates, my in-town dates. Denver, I will be at Comedy Works South, November 21st through the 23rd. Go to ryansickler.com, get your tickets now, sign up for that email list. And the website here for the show, thehoneydewpodcast.com. That's where you can go and get everything Honeydew related. You can get your merch there, social media links, all that good stuff. Send me emails, whatever it is you want. Thank you all for reaching out. As always, it means the world to me. I really appreciate you doing that. And engage with the sponsors. You guys ask all the time, how can we help? That's how you help. You engage with the sponsors. We can keep on doing this for you. All right? It ain't free over at Studio Jeans. You know what I'm saying? So if you're new to the show, I say we highlight the lowlights. That's what we do here every week. And these are the stories behind the storytellers. I'm very excited to have my guest on today. Second time on the HoneyDEW. First time with video. Mm-hmm. Ladies and gentlemen, DVK, Dan Van Kirk, everybody. Welcome to the HoneyDEW, Dan Van Kirk. Thank you. Welcome back to the HoneyDEW. That's you right here.
I know.
Right
I just was pretending.
That's over there off camera. Thank you for being here, dude.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me back.
You know the deal. Plug whatever you'd like.
Okay.
Please.
The day that this drops, on the 11th, I will start the final leg of the Together tour. I started this about a year ago. Have been breaking it up with legs of dates, and I will be in the 11th. I will be in Nashville, and then the very next day I'll be in Louisville, and then the 13th is Cincinnati. The 14th is Milwaukee, and then on the 15th I will be doing the final show of the Together tour in my hometown of Rochelle, Illinois.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Which is also the day my album drops. You can pre-sale it right now if you're hearing this the day that it drops, or you're waiting around till the end of the week. Then you'll be able to get it. 11/15 drops on my first album. It's called Thanks, Diane. You'll be able to get it anywhere that you get your album, Spotify, Bandcamp, iTunes. Just go to danielvankirk.com if you want one place to be able to grab anything in which direction you want to go from there. And you can hear me on podcasts, Pen Pals with Rory Scovel, and Dumb People Town, which I've been doing for a while with the Sklar brothers. And that's it. Just get Thanks, Diane. I would appreciate it.
Get the album.
It's fun, I promise.
What made you go with Thanks, Diane?
It's a track. It's a track there's a part where I talk about how I've come to the realization I'm not a good adult. Like I'm doing this badly in certain areas. And so then I talk about how I wish my mom was here so that we could thank her. And then it goes into a whole thing from there.
Then you thank your mom, Diane.
Kind of, yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Have you told her that yet?
What?
What it's called?
Yeah. Oh, no, yeah. She saw it when it dropped.
Oh, she did? Okay.
Yeah. And she saw the hour when I did it in Chicago in like June.
So where do you go for your show in Rochelle? Like, what do you do back home?
We're hitting up, it's called the Hickory Grove. It's changed names like 100. It used to be called the Vagabond.
It's the same building, but it's
it's the same room where I had my prom.
Is it really?
Yeah,
That's
dude.
awesome,
Yeah,
dude.
it's the same prom. I've been to so many weddings that ended up being divorces in that same room. I have a couple of friends. I went to their first wedding in that room. My cousin, my cousin got married, had her reception there, and the table I was sitting on completely collapsed
while you were on it.
So her deal was, I go, you having an open bar at this wedding? And she said, no, we just couldn't afford it. I go, you having dinner? Yeah, of course. I go, get rid of dinner.
Yeah, get rid of dinner.
Start with open bar.
Yes.
Every wedding budget should start open bar, music, then whatever after that.
Yeah.
And so I told her, I go, yeah, I'm not paying for a drink at your wedding. So I brought in a huge handle of Jack, and we're sitting there, and the table full, everything you put on, all that shit they put on a table at a wedding. The whole thing.
What kind of table?
Collapsed. Just like your standard 2 legs in a big circle wedding, and then they put a cloth over the top of it so you can't see where some guy died. And so the thing falls and it kicks out, and my Jack Daniel's bottle goes boom, like shoot it. Yeah. And people are like looking. I'm like, hey, don't worry, because I was just getting Coca-Cola from the bar and then just pouring it in. Cause I'm like, I'm not paying. And she's like, well, if they see you have that here, I go, I don't care. I don't care about that. You have to have open bar at your wedding, or have no bar. Because then at least they'd be like, oh, they must stand for something personal in their life.
Yeah, like that can be respectable.
Right,
yeah.
right. So, that's the room where I'm doing it. I guess it's technically called Abraham's Bar and Grill inside Hickory Grove. But it'll be there. And it's low ceilings. It's not perfect, but it's the best room I think you could do comedy in Rochelle in.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's it. Thanks,
That's
Diane.
exciting.
November
yeah.
15th.
Thanks, Diane. November 15th. Available where all good music and everything else is available.
Our buddy Dominic Del Bene is producing it.
Dominic's great.
Yeah. So it's on Blonde Medicine, and I hope people go check it out.
Yeah, Blonde Medicine's a great label. That's good. I'm glad you worked with Dom.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, so on the way here, you told me before we started recording,
Today,
your car broke down for real?
Yeah, man.
What happened? Where?
Well, do you ever have this fear when you're out, like you've been doing a lot of dates, and you come back and you're like, either my electricity's going to be off or my car isn't going to start?
Yeah, my home always feels different when I walk in.
I'm worried. When I walk in, the first thing I look at every time I get home is my internet router. And if that light's flashing, I know the electricity's still on. Like I didn't forget something. And I always feel that way about my car. And the last couple times I've been like, man, my car is...
What are you driving right now?
Dude, old. I'm rocking
Toyota, right?
Yeah, 2001 Toyota Camry.
Oh,
I went 6.5 years without a car in LA. And then eventually I just said, well, I'll just get
some buses and metro.
Man. I was like, I'll get something to just get me around. So then I just spent $1,500 on a Toyota.
That's it? How long have you had it?
3 years.
Did you buy it from somebody you know?
Mm-hmm.
You did.
Yeah. And so I just don't. I'm going to drive it till it goes in the ground.
Well,
I could have bought a new car by now.
The fact that you've had it for 3 years, $500 a year, that's a steal. You've already made your money on that car. Yeah.
So I just keep waiting for it to die. And then
was there any indication or a heads up?
It just started overheating.
Where? Where were you?
I'd just gotten off the 101. And so...
Is your car sitting somewhere out there now?
No, we're good right now. Yeah.
Don't get specific where, because we can't let people know where the fuck we are over here.
So I just pulled off the 101. This is earlier today. I just pulled off the 101, and I just saw it starting to heat up. And I used to have a Chevelle, and those were notorious. And so I knew right away what was going on. So I just started blasting the heat, and no heat's coming out. And then I'm like, oh, I'm fucked. So I pulled over, waited for 20 minutes, and then drove it half the way to the mechanic, and then it started again, pulled over, waited, and then I dropped it off there. And that's where it's at right now. I almost called you, but I'm like, I can't. No. So there's some people we would cancel on. I had to borrow a car. But there's some people you would be like, I'm sorry, but you wouldn't do that to your friend.
Love you. I had, as you know, my 1990 Honda Civic with original rims, and I had a hairline. I couldn't figure it out. It kept overheating. And I would do the same thing. Pump the heat into 95 degrees, just you're in there sweating. The air didn't work right anyway, but it's going through the canyon hills when a clutch too. You're just feathering it like,
yeah. Dude, I had an old Grand Am when I lived in LA the first time, and it was probably, I don't know, it was a GT. So what's that? At least 6 cylinders, right?
Yeah,
maybe 8.
Think.
I don't know. It had 3 on. It had 3. And I'd get up and go over those. I was living in Sherman Oaks, and I would go up those hills like, and I'm like,
that's what killed this. That's what kills
as soon as
cars.
We could start coming down Benedict Canyon, we were fine.
That's me too. I get I can put it in neutral and let you cool down. I can let you cool down.
You're talking to it?
Yeah.
Oh, so we had a deal once. We had a car. The AC wouldn't work. Windows wouldn't go down, and we would drive around Rochelle.
Call that the baby killer.
With the doors partly open. And we would just kind of hold them out just to get some vent. You'd have to. That's honeydew life right there.
That is honeydew life.
You got your own custom ventilation.
Oh, shit. So I'm looking into. I can't figure out why the fuck this car's overheating. And then the mechanic's sitting there, and he puts his hand. I used to say radiator, but he puts his hand on the radiator, and he. Like right near the cap, and I see it. I go, that's what it is. You're doing it. He's like, what do you mean? I go, well, when you guys work on cars, a lot of you post up, and I could see that his hands pushed it enough that it was a hairline fracture in it. So I put this that silver powder, you put it in there, supposed to clog a little, like any leaks or whatever.
Yeah.
And then this guy's like, he gives me this. It's this black like epoxy, and I put it on. I'm like, is that really gonna hold? He's like, that shit'll hold on the space shuttle. And I was like, all right. And let me
Were
tell you
you
something.
inside an infomercial? This is a glass boat.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, I'm in a glass boat. He puts it on. Never had a problem with it again.
Really?
That shit lasted until I sold the car.
Really?
Yep. He fixed it right up. He goes, you're right. That is what it is. We all lean on a car. We tend to put our hands here, and they're just plastic. You know, they used to be aluminum or metal on the top. Now it's plastic. You lean on. All it takes is a tiny little hole, and it fucks your whole shit up.
Wow. So yeah, I'm waiting to find out. I think it's just the hose.
Have you had a lot of cars in your life?
No.
You don't rotate.
I've only
through a
had
bunch?
3.
What was your very first?
The Chevelle,
The
72 Chevelle.
And whose was it?
Some guy in Appleton, Wisconsin. I bought it for $1,200. It was a
1200,
4-door,
huh?
350 stock with a 4-barrel carb, and I loved that car so much. I'm lucky.
What color?
It was like a dark green, but I'm lucky because a lot of guys have dreams of like muscle cars. They'd love to get one someday or have one, or they'd love to have the one that they always wanted or the one they used to have.
Mm-hmm.
Mine, I can get even a 70, 71, definitely 72, because that's kind of the last year of the muscle car. I could get that 350 4-door for very cheap because people don't want them, but I loved it. For me, it'd be great to have it back. That's kind of something. And then after college, I bought that Grand Am, and I had that until I was on Sunset. I've never told you this story. I was on Sunset Boulevard, and old Garmin GPS days, right? And mine was messing up, and I was driving back to Sherman Oaks, and I looked down at it just in time to look up. Not just in time, actually. A little too late to look up and see a Range Rover in front of me has stopped on Sunset Boulevard for no reason. There was no traffic. There was no anticipation of anyone braking. And I just hit just enough to get out, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And the guy gets out, and it's this Australian guy. And he's like, oh, you hit me. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. And I had at least had 2 or 3 drinks, right? But I was not drunk, but this is going to go bad for me if it needs to. And so he like looks at it, and there's these 2 perfectly like symmetrical dents on either side of the license plate. Almost looks like, I'll be honest with you, I don't know if it was
part
there.
of a package.
Yeah, it does. You couldn't tell. And he's like, well, he goes, the problem is it's a lease, and I have no money, Ryan. None.
This just
you remember those
happened to me,
days
by the way.
when you used to walk into the bar on whatever job you're doing, it's Friday, and you'd have $172 in your account, and you're like, who fucking wants to go out tonight on $172? And you'd spend 100 of it and be like, okay,
I'm good for 3-4 more days.
Yes. Yeah. And so I was maybe at that level, maybe. And so I'm like, man, I'll do what I just can't, my insurance. And so he's like, well, I got to get it checked out. And then he calls me like 3 days later, and I'm just sweating it. And he's like, hey, I took it to a person. They say it's going to be pretty expensive, but I'm going to take it somewhere else, and I'll get a second estimate for you. And then I never heard from that guy again.
That's nice.
And I don't know if someone killed him. I don't know what happened in his life that this became, my situation became a lower priority, but I'm thankful every day. And I looked it up, like, what's the statute of limitations on how long you can come back at somebody and say you ruined my car? I think it was a couple of years.
Is that long? That's long.
Yeah, but I was so nervous about that. I was living the honeydew life then too.
This just happened to me. I took my daughter for her 5th birthday, and my buddy Shannon came out from Baltimore with his daughter. We did 3 days in Disneyland, and 3.5 days in Disneyland.
That's great.
And we wrap up on a Sunday night. We get all the way back to my place, and his daughter had said, like, I really want to try In-N-Out. A YouTuber I follow goes to In-N-Out sometime, and she's 11, and I was like, yeah, YouTubers.
Yeah.
Different world over there. So we go in In-N-Out. We're sitting in the drive-thru, and boom, this guy hits me from the back. And I'm so
hits
close.
You.
Yeah. I'm so close to the wall here in the drive. I can't get out. So I'm like, Shannon, get out and go see if he did any damage. So he has to get out. He's got an old Jeep with a winch on the front. And it didn't hit me hard, but it, like you say, hit me hard enough.
Yeah.
And shattered it looks like an eggshell shatter, and it's now that it's getting colder, it's starting to grow bigger and bigger. And so he's like, please, I don't want this to go through my insurance. And I was like, look, dude, here's what I will say. It is a lease, same thing. Like, if this is my car, I wouldn't give a fuck, but it's a lease, and I'm going to have to pay for this when I turn it in. So I'll go get it looked at, and then I'll tell you what they say, and then you tell me how you want them. I'll be that cool with that. But after that, so I'm still waiting for him to get back to me, because I told him, I think they said it was going to be their preliminary, which is always like, oh yeah, we got inside there was some brackets and shit were broken. It's $1,000, you know. But
you know, you got a family of 4 living in there.
You got a rat's nest.
It's gonna be hard to get them out.
So what about this? You had an accident. You said
I did. Well, so I loved the first. People should check out. I think it was the first episode of the HoneyDEW.
Yeah.
And so we talked about a lot of times where I was like, oh,
well, I was the first episode of the HoneyDEW.
Well, that's true. Yeah, I was first guest that wasn't
first.
Josh Adam Myers.
Yeah, he was a guest host back then.
Okay. I feel like
I'm trying to make you the first guest here.
I feel like I contributed a lot, right? So
I mean, come on, man. I'm a big fan of the Nationals.
I've been singing here for days.
I hit him up about you saying he's a fan of the Nationals, and he said to me, I'm a fan of the area. That's what he said. I was like, get the fuck out of here.
I'm more of a regional fan.
I got the Oriole Bird, the Nationals, and the state of Maryland.
When I'm home, whatever towns they talk about on the weather forecast, that's who I cheer for. If I'm sharing a cold front with somebody.
A cold front now.
I'm more of a cold front fan.
I'm rooting for the cold front. If you're in that area, man, I'm a fan of the cold front.
Man, if we've had a winter storm warning together,
we got a squall out there today, guys.
Okay, yeah. So a lot of that was about broad strokes. We talked about a lot of just big themes in life of feeling like the HoneyDEW. This is one of those like just a specific time. So I was 15 years old. I think I was about to get my learner's permit because I took driver's ed that summer, and this happened on Memorial Day weekend. So I ride up to my family's got don't call it a lake house, a little cottage, a little shack up in Wisconsin, about an hour north of Madison.
Now, are you driving with someone?
No,
or you're in the
not
passenger
yet.
seat?
Not yet.
Okay.
So I go up like a day early with my grandma, and we go up to the cabin. And then on Fridays, we go to Good Old Days restaurant, all you can eat fish and chicken. Shout out to Good Old Days on Friday nights. And we go there, and my mom meets us at Good Old Days. She comes straight from Rochelle up to the restaurant. So so that matters. So she gets there. She's, obviously hasn't unloaded anything in her car, comes straight to dinner. We go to leave, and I ride back to the cabin with her. And it is my grandmother, my youngest brother, Vance, sitting in the middle, in the back, and my cousin Bobby sitting behind the driver's seat in the back. I'm riding shotgun. And we get out, we pull out, and it is a straight road for at least 2 miles called County C. And so I go, Mom, is it okay if I drive? Because up there's nobody. You can go, when you're first, like, figuring out how to move it. So she goes, yeah. So we pull over. And
now you have a learner's.
No,
you still
I haven't
don't
even
legally
started
have, okay.
driver's ed until
but you're 15.
Summer. Yeah, but also like in Rochelle and parts of Wisconsin, you've kind of driven something at some point in your life. I think, unless they change the law, in Illinois, you can get some sort of like a work license. Like you can drive a farm truck around the property at like 13 or 14 because it's part of, it's like considered
I feel like
farm
mopeds
machinery.
Were an earlier age too, but then you had go-karts and tractors and shit.
So she goes, yeah, so we pull over, straight shot. It had rained earlier that day, but the road was dry. And so we're driving, and I'm going maybe 40 miles an hour, and my mom asks me a question, and I like look over at her, and then I get a little cocky, I guess, and I go to change the volume myself. My mom has just gotten a brand new Ford Explorer, right? That she got with like what she was left. So what she was left when my stepdad passed away, which I talked about on the other episode. So this was kind of like her real nice new car for herself, which he would have wanted her
Just
to
got
have.
how long? How long has she had it? A couple months?
Yeah, maybe 6 months.
Okay.
So, and she
Still smells new.
yeah, called Irish Mist. What color do you think it was?
See, Irish, I would feel like green, but I would go with a
Red.
mint red.
Why?
Irish Mist. Is
Why?
red.
I've never forgotten the name of that color because of that. What it looked like,
Yeah,
like
why
a
would it?
burgundy, like
Yeah.
a dark,
Like wine.
yeah. Oh, why don't you, Irish blood? Why don't they just call it the Troubles? So, we start driving. I look over to the radio to like turn the radio, and then my mom, all thanks to Diane, but a little too much. She's like, Danny, and I look up, and I veered, just that you aren't good yet at keeping it straight when you aren't looking, and I veered, and the car goes off.
There's no shoulder. Is it grass
That's the thing.
right there?
Yeah, because you're in these back Wisconsin roads. There's no shoulder. Not into the ditch yet, but maybe it's like 18 inches
And it had
of
just
mud.
rained.
Yes.
Right.
And so I go off front of and then I don't know how to drive yet, so I overcorrect back, and we just start like this in the road, right? And
There's four people in the car.
Five.
Five. That's right,
Bobby's
you got 'em in
behind
the
me.
middle. That's
Vance is
right.
in the middle. Grandma's in the back. Mom's next to me. Yeah, and I'm just, I'm like Chevy Chase just fell asleep driving, And
Yeah.
so we're fishtailing all over, and the car is full of stuff for the holiday weekend. So things are flying all over, and then I overcorrect too hard again, and we just start. And we are
You're
spinning out.
360
Yes.
were you back on the pavement now? Or
Yeah, so I'm back on it. We're fishtailing. I'm keeping it on, but then we just start spinning 360, and then we just
are
start.
people screaming?
Yeah,
Is it all slowing down to you, or is it silent? Do you remember? Like
it gets slow in a couple seconds, which was probably 1 second, because then we just start rolling.
you rolled?
Dude, yeah.
Are you? I can't believe I don't know this fucking story.
Yeah, we rolled.
And is
man.
everybody's back then, or are they all buckled in, or anything?
Well, we'll get to it. Grandma! Oh, man. You can see Grandma. There's Irish Mist all over the road. So we're rolling, dude. Rolling. I'm like, yes.
Flipping like side over side.
Boom, barrel rolling it. And so then
Holy shit.
we start, as we're rolling, we're angling off to the side, like going off to one side, and we roll, and then we end up, if I can kind of give you the perspective, we end up, here's the road, here's the ditch. We're like this. So we stop kind of like wheels into the ditch.
Got it. Yeah.
I'm
Your
like
driver's
this. The
side
road
down
is like
by the
right,
road
right
there.
here. It almost
Yep.
just be like this, right? And we stop, and I'm like, because my mom had come straight up, she also had the dog in the car with her.
Oh my!
I know.
God.
So the dog is now on top of me, and I look up this way, and my mom is just being held above me by her seatbelt. And I like look, and the window is cracked. And so I take my elbow and I break out the window, and I throw the dog out. Right, I throw the dog out on the road, and it's like freaked out. And then I grab like this, and I pull myself out of the car, and I stand up, and I look down. This left arm, there's probably still some scars here. This left arm is covered in Irish Mist. Covered. I mean, because I broke out this. I don't know if it's from the window or what, and I'm
Yeah.
not feeling anything,
Right.
right? And I look down. My whole arm is red, and then right past my arm on the ground, as I just got out this way, one seat back, like this, is my cousin Bobby, who took his shoulder strap and put it behind him in the back seat, and he had the window down. And he is now outside of the window,
Like hanging out of it.
hanging out of it, with the car, like the top of the roof of the car angled this way onto him. And I'm
It's
like,
crushing him.
and I go, Bobby, you all right? And he's like, it feels like the car's slipping like further down into the ditch. And so, not thinking at all, I grab by the luggage rack and I just deadlift. I squat.
A Ford
this-
Explorer.
But here's the thing. I don't know if that gave Bobby the feeling of it isn't going to go down on him any farther. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I know I moved it an inch. But whatever happened when I did
That's
that.
what they say. They say these stories of these moms, their babies.
Yeah,
on
but
a
I
car
don't know. I would, you know me. I would tell you, like, I lift that fucker 5 inches.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. And so then Bobby kind of wiggles his way out, right? And I tell him, go sit on the other side of the road. And I pick up the dog. And I put the dog into his lap. And I'm like, give him something to do. I don't know why, but I was like, you're in charge of the dog so that he's not thinking about how hard his chest hurts. And so then I'm like, okay, I got to make everybody yell to me. And so I'm like, Vance.
And there's no fire. There's no smoke.
I go,
gas.
Vance. And he's like, yeah. And I go, Grandma. She goes, yeah. And then I go, Mom. She's like, yeah, but I'm stuck. So then all of a sudden, there's nobody on this road.
That's what I'm about to ask you. And at this point, no one's even passed
People
by.
start showing up. And it's so weird. Maybe they had left. They had also been leaving the restaurant. But it's like, based on what town you'd be going to, you would come out of the restaurant and go left or right. Very few people would go straight unless you're going to like a cabin. And so I'm sure there's some of that. So people start showing up. By the time these people start pulling up, we can't get the what do you call it? The hatch open. Mm-hmm. And so I'm pulling my brother Vance and my grandma over the back seat and then threw the stuff out the back window. And then somebody had a knife when people got there, and so we had to cut my mom's seatbelt free, and then she kind of just came out into the next seat, and then we get her out, and the paramedics
Christ,
get there,
dude.
like the ambulance gets, but
Is
everybody in my
else
family,
cut up or
everybody else in my
bleeding?
family we were the last to leave the restaurant, so they're all back at the cabin being like,
waiting on
where is, and nobody has cell phones yet, so they're like, where is Danny and Diane and Rosemary and Bobby and Vance? And so they like pull up and they do the whole thing where they like, you gotta be, I'm like, I'm fine. They're like, no, you gotta have it. And then it turns out that my cousin Bobby, he had a bruised sternum, and they don't know if it was slipping down on a rot. And obviously they're like, don't ever take your shoulder strap off. You just made this thing useless. It doesn't, you're gonna stay in the car, I guess, but your head and torso are going to go everywhere, as it did. And so then they end up hauling us all the way to, because you're in the middle of nowhere, Wisconsin, like probably 35 minutes to like.
But wait, was anybody else bloody and cut up or nothing?
Nobody.
Just
and
your
then,
arm.
yeah, and I'll never forget, my Aunt Connie came in and she was like, well, Danny, this is why they call it an accident. And that made me feel so much better. She's like, it just is an accident. And then the car's completely totaled, and then the cops told me, because I was like, I should have hit the brakes. And they're like, well, your brother in the middle seat didn't have a seatbelt on. So if you would have hit the brakes, you'd have watched him go through the sunroof or the windshield right next to you. And so you obviously could have done this better, but you also could have done this a lot worse. But once you
also could have done this when you were 16.
That's very true too. They also said that all of the stuff in the back, kind of like coming over and falling on top, like either took some of the impact of things or like maybe kept Vance in his seat as well, because like things were on top of him.
Right.
And then we end up finding out a year later that there's that big recall on Fords. Remember all those tires exploding?
Yeah, I do.
And they would say, like, if you switch terrain or you just kind of jerked it too hard, that the tire would just explode. And we went back and looked at the pictures from the vehicle that we took, and that tire that went off the ditch had blown out. And they were like, we don't know if it blew out when you rolled. You could make a case that maybe as soon as you came off, you lost that tire blew out, and that's what they were all recalled for. But the whole thing, I felt so bad because this was my mom's car. Like, this was something she was happy to have.
All right, wait,
it was
I have
in memory
questions.
of my stepdad. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But you're 15. Your mom doesn't get in any kind of trouble with the authorities. You don't get a suspension put on your.
She
You like
did.
he can't
No,
drive
so
till he's
I
18
ended up.
or.
It like took a while to get sorted out, and then I think I could still go through driver's ed, and I was able to get my permit because it hadn't like been sorted out yet. But it ended up being that so I could get my license when I turned 16, but my license was suspended the first 6 months.
Oh, it was.
So
you
yeah,
could still get it, but then you couldn't drive at all for
Right,
6 because of that.
Yes. Yeah.
Then there
because
were
of
no points that came with your license.
I
or
wonder.
anything
I
like
think
that?
in Wisconsin they were doing the point system then. If I had this, it feels like
You feel like you
I
started
remember
in a
somebody
hole.
getting like 3
Or a
points
ditch.
or something like that. Yeah, there you go. Somebody getting like 3 points or something like that. But
Who you mean somebody? You or your
or
mom?
gave me. Yeah, no.
Oh.
I had 3 points, but I don't. They would be, they never ended up mattering or anything. But yeah, it was so, and I
Holy
felt so
shit.
bad. Obviously, I ruined, like, Labor Day and Memorial Day in my family was everybody would try, the whole family, uncles, everybody would try to come for those 2 weekends. And so it just completely, like, I ruined the weekend. I ruined the car that my mom was able to get after she lost her husband. I almost killed my brother and my grandma and definitely my cousin. Like, it was the worst feeling. And I had a hard time driving.
Yeah, I was
For
gonna ask
you, because one, you're already a kid,
Yeah.
right? And then you're like, well, my first experience went like this, and it took me a long time to even feel comfortable going over 55, because I was just terrified that I was going to get in another accident.
When did the family that was ahead of you find out what happened to you guys?
Somebody called them once the ambulance showed up.
Okay.
They must have relayed to a dispatcher, because
And you said
no
the
one had a
hospital's
cell
like
phone.
30 miles from
Yeah,
where you were?
'cause you're in the middle of
Good
nowhere.
God. You're dead if you really are
Oh,
suffering
you're dead.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, you're completely dead.
Jesus
Dude.
Christ, dude.
Oh, I felt like the worst.
What did your
person.
mom get after that, and how soon did she get another car?
I think she ended up getting like an Aerostar.
The Ford, that van. I remember that one.
Here was the problem.
I
She
would have
had-
got the same goddamn car. Y'all
she
just
had
lived through
leased
that.
car
Oh, no.
and paid it in full.
No.
So then she had to try and work with the dealership to get her money back, because she had already made payments
Right.
on a car
She can't use
she didn't even have.
Yeah.
That was gone. So that ended up, I've told my mom so many times, I'm like, hey, when I sell my first show, we're getting you that same exact Irish Mist Ford Explorer. She's like, I do not want it.
Yeah, right.
I don't want it at all. I go, I don't care.
It's
I took it.
2020. Why
I'm
do I
gonna
want a
give it back.
1990 Irish Mist
whatever
Ford
year.
Explorer?
Yeah. And I'm like, you're getting one. Go take it to Cars for Kids for all I care after I give it to you, and tell them to stop playing that goddamn commercial.
goddamn jingle.
That's the worst.
It's a
That is the worst.
Great
You want me to turn off your
benefit,
radio station?
Horrible fucking song. Yeah.
Worst. I'd rather just have a guy being like, Cars for Kids would like your car.
Yeah.
Now back to the show.
That's it. That's all you need to know.
And I'd never forget it.
Do you remember any thoughts that went through your head while you're rolling? Do you remember? Were you cognizant that we are flipping?
You want to be honest with you? And anytime you get a little proud of yourself, it's the worst thing to do in front of another comic. So I already know that. But I was very happy with how I handled things.
It sounds like you were. Good.
I was very like, oh, you learn things about yourself in really bad situations.
You're
right?
either going to freak out and melt down, or you're going to stay focused and try to get through it.
Tried to save your grandma's life?
Yeah, I've been very good in my situations.
You just go.
It's not. Yeah,
You learn
it's-
whether or not you go or you
have
don't
it or
go.
you don't. That's right.
Right.
I go, and then after it's all said and done,
Oh, I'll cry.
then I'm like, oh my god, guys! Oh my god, guys! Oh my god!
But the people who do that in the moment,
Yeah,
they're all
like, we
dying.
don't need that right now.
Dude, let me ask you this. Okay, so I'll answer your question, then I'll ask you one. So I was very happy because I didn't even say this. When I look down at I break the window. I get out of the car. I assess who needs help first. My arm is covered in blood. I was wearing a Michigan basketball t-shirt. I took that off, tied that off around my arm before I tried to help Bobby get out from under the car. I had everyone tell me they were okay before I start trying to move anybody. I get my grandma, like, I was very happy, and have been in other times where I get those situations, with how I went through this. So I remember really just freaking out when we were fishtailing. And once you start rolling,
It's over. I mean,
because you don't even know what's happening right now. It's such a crazy feeling. I just remember.
Do you know how many you did? Do you know how many flips you
had-
did? 4
No.
or 5?
I would say probably 3.
God damn, that's a lot.
I know. Imagine seeing it. Do you ever think? Have you seen an
I
accident?
was going to say to you, can you imagine?
I've seen one accident
not
in
like
front
that.
of me.
If you could go back and see the drone footage of your car flipping like
You'd like,
that,
they're all dead?
Yeah, you would be like, oh my God, how do we ever?
They're
walk
all
away from-
dead.
All of them are dead.
But when really it was some aches, stitches in my elbow, and my cousin's bruised sternum.
That's it. That's amazing.
I know. But thank God I didn't hit the brakes, because they said, too, a lot of inexperienced drivers will slam on the brakes.
Yeah.
And he's like, once you lost control, the momentum of what your car is doing, you hit the brakes, your brother's gone. He's gone. So I was very fortunate for that, but I just felt like I was like, because as you know, and I hope people go back and listen, but my mom been through a lot.
Yeah.
And so it was like she had just lost her husband, and at least she finally got a nice car. And then I take that away from her. That was hard. That's probably why I half joke, but I'm like, I would love to just be like, here's your
new Iris Mist fucking 2021 Ford Explorer.
No, I'm getting it from
The 19.
She's getting back what I took. There's no interest on my pain.
Look, you're getting that, all right.
Yeah. But that's what I was going to ask you. Based off of your stuff, do you think you'd survive an apocalypse?
Yeah.
I
I mean,
think I
unless
would
it's
too.
like, I would definitely survive if it wasn't for like if it was nuclear war or whatever, just radiation.
No,
eats you
I'm
up,
not
you know
talking
what
about that. I'm
No.
saying, so like there's a book called Dies the Fire where iron loses its chemical component. So like gunpowder doesn't work anymore. The combustible engine doesn't work anymore. And so we still have technology, but we go back to horses and swords, which is kind of like a trip to think about. But I'm always like, yeah. So I'm not saying someone won't kill me, but given my own volition, will find a way to survive.
Oh, at the end
Wouldn't
of that,
you?
when it's all said and done, you'll see me coming right out of that smoke like, yeah, yeah.
Because there's also the thing where people are like, we got to go back in and save those kids. Who cares if the house is on fire? And I'll be like, no, we don't.
No, we don't.
And now I understand this is going to make me a shell of the person I used to be. But I will always be like, we lost them. I'm not.
I saved these 5. That's all I could do.
See, you and I are similar. We should make sure we find each other.
Combined forces
Right.
for the apocalypse.
Right.
I'm down, dude.
Like, you know, this you see where like the guy gets a hurt leg, and and then his friends are like, well, we gotta stick together. I'd be like, I'm sorry,
man.
my job is
That ACL's torn. We can't take his
right.
ass.
But once I make it out of here, I can get
I'll
someone
send
to
back.
come back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But if I try and help you, the predator's gonna kill us.
We all die.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how so that was the only.
But by the way, also, if I'm the one that gets hurt, I'm not going to bog you down. Go.
Right.
I'll
I
still
get
be
it,
there at the end.
'cause I
I'll
get
be
it,
riding
right?
side saddle on that fucking horse or laying over. I'll be laying over.
But that's
I
the
made
other-
it, guys.
But Ryan, you're not lying because you get it. You're like, well, I just got weeded out. Mother Nature just weeded me out. So I'll let you guys know if I
Yeah.
get weeded back in. But you got to do what you got to do. Yeah, I'm the same way. So that was to a horrible situation, that was the only silver lining. It's like, all right, I was happy with how I handled myself. But I still was just devastated.
How old
when I
was your
ruined-
grandmom at the time?
At the time?
60s, 70s?
No, she was.
That's a violent
Yes.
fucking accident,
Yeah.
especially for somebody that age.
Yeah, she was 60s.
And she was okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
She had her seatbelt on.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was okay. Scared. Oh, man.
I love that no one fought. Like, no, you can't let him drive. He's not even have a light.
No.
Nothing. They're all just
Grandma's
like,
hopped
"Fine."
up on screwdrivers, and we had just left good old days. Literally, we left the good old days.
and turned into a goddamn nightmare right down the
Oh
road.
my god, man, it was so scary.
Oh my god.
That was bad.
Let's take a quick break to tell you about our sponsor, Upstart. And as most of us have found out the hard way, getting into debt is easy, getting out is hard, especially if your credit score isn't great. Thankfully, now there's Upstart.com, the revolutionary lending platform that knows you're more than just your credit score and offers smarter interest rates to help you pay off high-interest credit card debt. Don't be out there rotating that high 17, 18, 20% debt on credit cards playing the shell game. It's not going to work. You're going to be paying way more than you owe. And if you just go to Upstart, they go beyond the traditional credit score when assessing your credit worthiness. They actually reward you based on your education and your job history in the form of a smarter interest rate. Upstart believes you're more than just your credit score. They believe in you, and they understand that. They make it fast, simple, and easy to check your rate in just a few minutes. And the best part, once the loan is approved and accepted, most people get their funds the very next business day. The next day! Over 300,000 people have used Upstart to pay off credit cards or meet their financial goals. Free yourself from the burden of high-interest credit card debt by consolidating everything into one monthly payment with Upstart. See why Upstart is ranked number one in their category with over 300 businesses on Trustpilot, and hurry to upstart.com/honeydew to find out how low your Upstart rate is. Checking your rate only takes a few minutes and it will not affect your credit. That's upstart.com/honeydew. Let's get back to the do. What else you want to get into up here on your list of
I mean,
things?
these are all fun. Okay, I should probably have I ever told you about the second apartment I lived in LA?
I don't think so.
All right, so I had this great setup when I first moved here because I moved here with nothing, and a friend of mine from the bar I worked at was like, "I got an extra bedroom. You just stay with me." I was living in downtown in a nice apartment, my own room, own bathroom for like $200 a month, $250 a month. I know. And so my buddy, Bradford, was like, I'm going to move out to California. I was like, great, we'll do it together. You know, he was more interested, not in like comedy or performing, but he just wanted to be out here. And I'm like, well, yeah, let's struggle at the same time in the same place. So he moved out here, and I had a friend that we moved in with, because they had somebody move out, and I'm like, oh, we'll just use this room for a month. We can dorm it up. It'll be fine. And 4 weeks in, Bradford was like, I'm going back. And I was like, you fucked me.
A month in, that's it?
Yeah, because I'm like, I just left. I could have stayed where I was. So I'm trying to find a place. I'm working at a bar, another bar, again, in downtown LA. And I find this place with this guy, and forgive me for just not remembering exactly what his name is. I'm going to say it wrong. It was like Aurangzeb or something like that. Okay. And he was this really nice guy. He's from India. He was like here going to school. And he's like, I live in the living room. You will have your own room and your own bathroom. Or no, we'll share a bathroom, I think. And then there's another guy named Raj who is in the master bedroom. He pays more money. And I was like, all right, you'll do what you got to do.
Yeah.
And this is, Craigslist and find the guy. So I go downtown. We're in Bunker Hill Towers in downtown LA. And I go there, and he's not there. The guy I met with is not there. Raj is there. So then I'm like, hey, man, where are you at? And he's like, oh, I had to move back to India. He writes me back. I had to move back to India. And I go,
Back to how long was the...
like a week. And I go, well, I don't know. He's like, oh, I'll still help you like get it all sorted out. And I'm paying like maybe $600 a month. And I needed this. So I was like, okay. So it's me and Raj.
And your rent just went from 2 to 6?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it's me and Raj, and then he's gone, and he's like, someone else is going to move in, right? So then this other guy moves in to the living room on an air mattress, and there's 2 things I know about this guy, okay? His name was Mitchell, all right? He said he was born and raised in South Central, so I guess I know more than 2. He was born and raised in South Central. He was a high-level executive for warehouse shoe sales. I don't know if you guys have these in other places, but in LA, there's a chain of athletic apparel and shoe stores called WSS.
Mm-hmm.
He said he was a high-level executive. He's the only high-level executive I've ever known that had to live in a living room on an air mattress. But he said he was a high-level executive with warehouse shoe sales. And his other tip on life for me was go to the Army Navy surplus store and get yourself a military book bag, because a lot of times you can board with the military if you ever fly somewhere. And I'm like, that feels like you are a valor thief, but you also live in living rooms, so it's probably that Venn diagram is one circle. Valor thief and living room. So it's me and him and Raj, and everything's going as fine as things can go for a couple of maybe months. So then Mitchell moves out, and then another guy moves in who's Indian, who, I apologize, but there was a very big language barrier, and I could never figure out what his name was at all. I still to this day have no idea. And he would just spend all day, every day, in a white V-neck shirt and black basketball shorts. That's all he wore, and I never saw him off of his air mattress at any time.
Didn't do anything.
Well, one time in these first few months, I had met Raj's girlfriend, and she was a white girl. And the only reason I say that is because in his culture, that's an issue.
Mm-hmm.
So I met her like once, and Raj spent a lot of time in his bedroom. And then like 4, 5, 6 days goes by, and I have not seen Raj. And I don't even know the guy in the living room's name to ask him where Raj is. So she walks in one day, and I go, "What? Where's Raj?" And she's like, and she starts crying.
What?
And I go, "Is everything okay?" She's like, "Raj is just having a really hard time with school." And I go, "Okay." And she says, "So he tried to kill himself?" I go, "Here?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I go, "When?" She's like, "It was a few days ago. It was the middle of the day. So he's been in the hospital. And if anything changes, I'll let you know." That was a lie. No one let me know anything. 4 days later, there are 6 people living in Raj's room.
What?
Yes.
6 new people.
Yes. That all end up being his family. It's his mom, his dad, and his siblings.
Are they there for like
And
in case something happens?
They're there because their son is in the hospital and tried to kill himself. And I think they're there to either like, I don't know, like help him or say you're going back home, right? And so none of them ever leave his room, ever. And they're all living in there.
For how long?
So I have a bedroom in place. There's a guy in the living room I do not know, and 7 more people in the bedroom right next to mine.
Plus
and I'm
Raj's
smelling
girlfriend's
the
in it.
best food,
Yeah,
and I'm like, how many hot plates they got in that bed?
They're cooking all in the room.
Yes,
Nah, they don't go to the kitchen.
Sometimes they would make things in the kitchen, but other times I
I'm
would
smelling that garlic naan back there.
So
Is that tikka masala Tuesday?
right.
Smells good.
Right. And so one day, I'm like going from the bathroom. I'm in the hallway, going from the bathroom to my room. And this older gentleman comes out, right?
So he's using your bathroom?
No. He comes out of the bedroom.
Oh, okay.
On the way to and the doors are right next to each other, to the end of the hall. And so he walks out and he's like, "Hello?" And I'm like, "How's it going, roomie?" I don't know. I was like, "Hey, sir, how are you?" And he's like, "Raj is sick." And I go, "Yeah, I heard. Does Raj have a girlfriend?" And now, I don't know if his family.
Oh, yeah, because she's a white girl.
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen Meet the Patels.
And so I go, I know he has some very close friends. And he's like, "You close friends?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "My son is sad." And I go, "Yeah."
Oh, so this is his dad.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm like, "Okay." And he's like, "He has a girlfriend?" And I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea. I just want this to end. So I go in my room. Now I am essentially like the mystery man in the living room. I don't leave my area either. I don't want to come out of I'm like, he had it
How are
figured out.
7 people using the bathroom and eating and sleeping on the same schedule and shit?
I don't know.
How long were they in there?
Well, I don't know that answer either, because a couple weeks after this had been going on, I'm like, I gotta get out.
Weeks they're in there at this point.
I wish I was doing stand-up at that point, because then you'd be like, "Here's my hour.
Oh, yeah.
Here's my hour."
Here's my fucking
I can't.
documentary.
You wouldn't
Here's
leave.
everything.
You'd be like, "I
No,
have
like,
to be here
I
till they
gotta
leave."
Stay here, guys.
Yeah.
I got to. When y'all plan on leaving? Yeah.
So I find another place to go live, right? And I've got like 2 weeks, maybe 10 days. It wasn't very long. So I find somewhere else to go. And I think I had told one of his sisters or his dad or somebody in the room, right? I had mentioned it. Now, this place also was not nice. Like, you'd turn the kitchen light on.
Yeah.
Like cockroaches.
I've lived
yes.
there,
So I'm
yeah.
like, I can't live here. I don't know who's in the living room. There's cockroaches. I don't know how many people are here. Raj has tried to kill himself, and I'm very sympathetic to that, but I am not in a position to help him. It's only affecting my life in a way that has way too many question marks, right? And I had seen his mom a couple of times, but we didn't have much to talk about. And I'm in the kitchen, and it's like 10:30 at night. I guarantee you I was pouring a bowl of cereal. That was like mainly what I could afford to eat.
Kashi.
Dude, I did like that
Kashi
cinnamon
go
harvest. Cinnamon harvest, baby. Sometimes some Cheerios. And I'm like pouring and whatever. And I just remember looking up, and in the doorway at this little row kitchen is his mother. Small in stature. Just a very unassuming woman. And she says, and I had told, somebody, his sister or whatever. And she goes, "You leave?" And I said, "Yeah, I gotta go. I'm gonna go to another place." She goes, "No." And I said, yeah. It's just, I need to be, another place is good for me. Leave. And
Like
dude,
angry like that?
This woman was not small anymore.
Right.
She was too close too. She's like, leave. And I go, you guys could use the room.
Yeah, really.
Like, I gotta go. And she goes, "My boy's sick." And I said, "I'm very sorry. He seems like a really good guy." I barely knew him at all. And she's like, leave.
Jesus, dude, really?
And I'm like,
Does she think you're the reason? Or
does she think I'm part of the support system?
yeah.
Or am I going to like screw them over with how the rent's getting paid? But she told me on no uncertain terms I was not allowed to leave. And I like step out because you could enter from both ways. And I'm like back and I see, I should give him a name, but I don't know what would be offensive. I don't want to. Larry on the mattress, and he's just like,
he's scared as shit.
He's scared. He doesn't want to be here either. And he's like,
I already tried that. Man.
He's like,
stay, man. You stay.
like when you look at your friend's parents are fighting, and your friend's like, don't leave, please. Stay here, because we'll all get hit.
Yeah, we'll all get hit.
You're the only reason none of us are getting hit. And you're thinking, I think if I stay here long enough, your dad's gonna get so comfortable, I'm gonna get hit.
Yeah, no
right?
shit.
Right. And so he's like, and I go,
And he's Indian, right?
Yes.
So he knows. He probably seen this shit before.
And so I go. I hope everything works out for Raj. Please let me know.
Larry's here. He can help out.
You guys, Larry is gonna. Dude, I moved out the next day in probably an hour and a half.
How did you do it though, without them?
Well, I
knowing?
didn't have
They were
much.
always
I didn't
in
even
the
have a
room.
bed. I had an air mattress, so I just bagged it all up. I'm like, I didn't even have a TV. I had like a little bookcase. I didn't have clothes, and that was it. But I had a beanbag chair.
And she didn't try to stop you when you're
Beanbag
moving
chair
out?
has to be the official furniture of the HoneyDEW, by the way, because you're mobile.
I should make those.
Yeah.
Make HoneyDEW.
What did you ask me?
chairs.
I stepped over you. Do you know?
If they try to stop you and they
No.
noticed or anything.
No, but it was, dude, that was scary. And one of those times in my life where I'm like, how did I get here? How did I get to this place? And I hope everything worked out for Raj.
I was going to say you don't know any follow-up.
How? No, I have no idea. I wonder if it's even still saved in my phone. Probably because you port all your contacts over, right?
It might be in there. His name or no?
Yeah, it would just be Raj.
You should reach out to him and see how he's doing.
I just want to know how you are. And all I get back is, you left.
You left.
You
You
left.
no leave.
Hey, Dan, this is Larry. I'm handling a lot of things for Raj. I kind of took over the whole fam. Things cleared up after you. It was good that
He's
you
running the
left.
whole family now.
Dude, that was a weird, dark time
That's
in
fucking
my life.
scary, dude.
I was like, I've gone. This is what's happening to me. I have almost no possessions. I am in a very low place in my life. I'm just trying to put pennies together. And I'm now living with a whole bunch of people I do not know. One of them is
when you
dealing
only
with
agreed to live
mental
with
health
one,
issues.
two at the time?
Two,
originally?
but the
Two.
first one split
And
right
he's
away. And
out,
then we
right.
had Mitchell, who had a whole plan for life in warehouse shoe sales. And then he got replaced with the guy I never knew. And it was too much change. And for a man who's been abandoned so many times in his life, I couldn't handle it anymore.
Change.
Yes,
There's a lot
man.
of strange
Yes.
change. Yeah.
But also beautiful. Like, I feel bad about probably all the details I've forgotten because it was so weird. You naughty.
In the dark and shit, dude. That was scared of fuck
Yeah,
out.
and it's like you can hear the of the lights.
Of
You
the
know?
hot plates.
Oh, yeah, dude. But it also smells so good.
Yeah, like, I kind of don't want to. I'm torn.
Don't want to leave. Oh, that was a wild chapter in my life.
God damn.
Yeah, man.
All right, so where do you go after that?
Well, okay. So then I move into a loft with a guy named Benji, who's just this big, lovable gay man from Minnesota. And he talks like this, like, oh, hey, how you doing? You know? And he's like,
How'd you meet
sure.
him?
Craigslist.
Oh, man.
And it was close. It was a few blocks closer into downtown, like 6th and Spring, which is right where the bar that I worked at was. And it was a loft. So you're already going in. There's no walls.
Right.
So you're already going in being like, you're going to have to work together here. Okay. And where I'm coming from, though, like, I just had that witch put a curse on me. So that's what it felt
She
like.
probably did.
Remember in Drag Me to
Some
Hell
kind
where
of
that girl's
Indian
trying to get the
curse.
loan
Yeah.
and she turns her down? That's what it felt like. That's what it felt like.
She probably needed you there for another day or two to put the full hex on.
Oh, my God, dude. Scared the hell out of me. Literally, I was like, I'm not part of Raj's success. If anything, I'm a detriment.
Talk to his white girlfriend.
Yeah, that's why you know
what
who
you
you
should've-
should talk
that's
to.
what you should have done.
should talk to
Jennifer. Yeah.
Kellifer. So
Kellifer.
So you know that's a name. So I move in there and things are fine. He's got some sort of weird sock business that he runs on eBay.
Sock?
Yeah. And he's a very nice guy. And also I'm like, I don't care about no walls. Just as long as we're the only two people in here. We'll just be quiet. I'm gone a lot. Like I'm down the street at the bar. Shortly after, a few months after being there, he ends up deciding he wants to be a nurse. And so he then enrolls in classes. Yeah. He enrolls in classes, and now he's got to be up at like 5 or 6 in the morning. And so now I have to be really quiet. And he also has a boyfriend that he wants to be a nurse with him, and his name is Dino. And Dino is this cute as a button little Filipino kid, right? And now, you should not share a no-wall space with anyone, even your boyfriend, husband, wife, whatever, when you're going through something as stressful as like any sort of med school. It's too much.
Yeah.
And so I then slowly had to watch their relationship like deteriorate with no walls. And there'd be times...
They watch it. You probably heard everything.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There'd be times that they didn't know I was behind my partition in my room area, and they would just start having these like fights and yelling at each other. And the one I'll never forget, it's Dino, right? And he goes, "You treat me like this? You think I like it? You think I like being treated?" And he's like, you know what, Dino? I just can't take it anymore from you. And he's like, "You think I like it? You think I like sucking your dick?"
Dino had enough.
This is all fine in a relationship.
Dino reached his dick limit.
This is all fine in a relationship. And also, before anybody writes in the comments, this is exactly how he sounded.
You are a
And
master
I'm speaking for
impressionist.
both of them, okay? Both of them. He's like, "Oh, you're going to talk to me like that?" And he's like, "You think I like it? You think I like sucking your dick whenever you want?" And I'm
Whatever
like, and
you
I'm,
want.
guys, I'm on my bed, just like...
Wonder what
here's the thing.
Raj's mom's doing right
Here's
now.
the thing. I walk out. I put my finger in Dino's chest and I go, "You no leave. You stay with Benji. You stay, Dino." And so he's like, "You think I like it? You can get somebody else down here to help you with all your homework and then suck your dick." And I was like, "Oh God!" And I was so uncomfortable. But then you need them to know you're here because I don't want. It's too personal. I have obviously no problem with their life or anyone sucking dick at all. But the fact I shouldn't be privy to it It's again being at your friend's house when the parents are fighting like this. I'm not supposed to be here.
It's no
I'm
different
supposed
than a
to be here for
heterosexual couple
TGIF.
yelling, you think I want to eat your pussy all the time?
100%.
Yeah, no different, right.
100%. And so, and I just start going, ugh. You think I like her? You cough? And he's like, huh? And then they realize I'm in there, and then he's like, and then I go out and leave. And so then it was maybe a month later. Oh God, these all tie together. I got Benji. I'm gonna move out. It's better. Oh, it probably is. I think Dino's gonna move in full time. Dino had been in full time for months. Right, yeah. Well, I think we're
literally
we're really happy. And I'm like, well, one of you are. You're getting your dick sucked whenever you want. So I move out, and I move in with two girls above LA Cafe, which is a great all night whenever you want food spot in downtown LA. Named Taylor and Jasmine, right?
Are they a couple or are they just... Okay.
They're just friends. Cool chicks. This all seemed so great. Huge loft, but the rooms had walls put up, but the other was just a big, enormous. We could run a 60-person comedy show in there. It was awesome. Until the second day that I'm moving
Second day.
I walk in. I'm carrying some boxes, right? And I'm only going down the street. So I just had a cart. I'm moving all my stuff. At this point, I did have a TV and I did have a bed. So I had upgraded my life a little bit. I went October 2007 until October 2012. I went 5 years without my own bed.
Your own bed?
I didn't own. I had places where I stayed, and they had like a day bed, or they had a bed, but I didn't have. Or I had an air mattress, or I slept on that beanbag chair for a while. So my life had gotten a little better. So I'm moving in, probably second day. Big stuff's already all in. I'm doing the final boxes, and I walk in, and I take 2 steps into this gorgeous loft, and I'm like, and I look over to my right, and there's a big dining room table, and the girls and another guy who lives in the building are just sitting there in the house, windows closed.
Cigarettes?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And then as I'm like coming back in the room, another person from the building has come in and sitting at the table.
Is they're the smoke unit?
Yeah.
No.
And I'm like, oh, and I had never even
cigarette loft
thought to ask. We're the smoker's corner of this loft, of this building. And so I bet I was in there 2 months, and I told them, I was like, girls, you're great. Come to the bar anytime you want. It's as much on me for not asking. And I think I had said something, and it didn't matter. I mean, they're used, this is the life.
They're like, all right, Dan.
Yeah, everything's on the exhale.
Yeah, everything.
We'll get right fucking on that. They're like, you know what, Dan?
Secure deposit back.
You know what, Dan? You leave. So I moved into the building next door, and there was no hard feeling. Why wouldn't I even think? So many people don't smoke anymore. And when's the last time you sat down on a couch and smoked a cigarette, or just
in
saw
someone's
anybody?
home?
Dude, if I'm on traffic and you look over, windows up, somebody just piping, you're like, you don't care about anything. You don't care about the resale on that car. You don't care about your kids. You hate your job. You're just your windows up.
Your lungs, nothing.
Just soft pack boxing yourself. So I moved into the place next door, and that place went really well until the guy who I lived with was a great dude named Jordan, and he was like, hey, so my girlfriend's coming back from studying abroad. I'm like, awesome. He's like, yeah, I think we're ready to move in together. So she'll get back in August. I just figure it's nothing against you at all, Dan. Maybe end of September. Just want to give you like 2 months heads up. I go, great. So as we do, August comes. I don't worry about anything. She shows up at the end of August, and her second day there, she's like, so you're out, right? And I go, huh? She's like, well, Jordan told you I was moving in, so like I'm here now. Like you're out at the end of August. And it was 4 days away. And I thought, I can fight with these people, but this is obviously either some sort of miscommunication, or she told him, like, tell him I'm coming in August, and then he needs to be out by the end of August. But he maybe in the moment was like, take an extra month. I don't
Right,
you
yeah.
know. That's not going to solve anything. And I don't want to spend a month living there. And so I had 4 days to find a place in LA, which is where I'm at now. And I got so lucky.
Yeah, you have a great place.
Yeah,
You do have a great place.
so lucky with that spot. But
Damn.
so the craziness of that one didn't come to the very end either, where they were like, so you're out? You're out?
4 days to pack your life up.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah. And I obviously had a few more things by
Isn't
that
it
point.
crazy? I have so many people who owe me a move in my life, and I never cashed in on any of
Really?
them. Yeah, I've helped so many people move. I've helped people move under duress. I've helped people move during an intervention. I've helped people move when they were going schizophrenic and had to get the fuck out and
Really?
be put in the hospital. Yeah, I've helped a lot of people move.
But you've never called it back?
No.
You should
Tom
spread it
Segura
out.
helped me out. To give credit to Tom. He helped me carry a couch to an apartment one time, but 2 of my moves I did in a grocery cart.
Really?
Yeah, I moved across.
Yeah, a couple
I
of
moved
mine were
across
just
the
with
street,
moving carts.
and
yeah.
the homeless guys had grocery carts on the LA River, so I just would take one. And people see me coming, they're like, who's this motherfucker? My pots and pans are hanging out of the grocery cart, and I'm wheeling it right into the elevator.
I'm the HoneyDEW player. Nobody wants me right now.
2 fucking moves, full moves, except for having one person help me carry like a couple of big things, because I didn't have a lot either. All done with grocery carts.
Really?
One move was right across the street, and the other one was 2 blocks from there, but I wheeled that cart all the
The
way
place
up.
you're in now, how'd you move there?
The place I'm in now, same way, dude. I always do it myself. I did
See, I'm
90.
done with
I did
that.
90% of it by myself. Like, I mean, all the small shit.
I know.
You know?
No, I'm gonna have somebody move
Yeah.
everything.
Next
the
time,
next
if
time
I have
move.
to, it will be. But then I did pay movers to move the big shit.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll do that too.
I can't be fucking with my back anymore.
It's not
like
worth
that.
it.
Yeah. No.
And you've done enough of it.
Yeah.
It's the people who have only ever had movers that I'm like, fuck you.
Yeah.
You gotta go.
I've put
through
my
seeing
time
how
in.
mu- yeah,
Yeah.
seeing what you can tie to a sedan. That's how I've done that. I think I
I've
haven't truck moved. I haven't truck moved. I mean, I might have borrowed a friend's truck, but I haven't grandma's attic and the U-Haul
Yeah,
moved
right.
since the mid 2000s.
Yeah. I've
But my
done a
next
few
one
of
will be
those
that
under
because I finally
duress,
have
too.
an apartment worth of stuff.
I had a mattress one time. My buddy was like, a friend of mine's giving me this mattress. Can we go get it? I was like, we're in a Honda Civic, dude. Like, he's like, we'll just tie it on the roof. We tied that fucking thing on the roof. We got on the 101 coming north from Highland, going around back in, and the wind, I mean, it's just just beating the fuck out of the car. I thought I was going to crack the
But you
windshield.
didn't have any tailgaters though.
No,
I've had
everybody was going. You ever been this guy just telling them?
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
just come on.
Dude, I was driving on the interstate in Illinois, going from Chicago to Rochelle, my hometown, November 15th. Thanks, Diane. And final show of the tour.
Get
DanielVanKirk.com.
Get the album.
And I'm behind a truck full of stuff. And something just told me, just get over. Just get over. They were maybe like, I don't know, 200 feet in front of me. Far enough, but it was like, and you don't need to pass yet. I said, just get over. I get over, and not 30 seconds later, that futon mattress goes,
No,
just going, flying past me at 80 miles an hour.
I
And
would
I'm
have
like,
killed you.
okay, 100%.
Yeah.
You can hit, you're going, even if it doesn't come through your car, it is sending you off the road.
No doubt.
That big a mass and that heavy at 80 miles an hour, you're going wherever it decides. Yeah, that was so scary. One of those like, ooh, I dodged it there. But yeah, I can't imagine tying a mattress to a fucking sedan and driving on the 101.
You had a couple more stories you wanted to share with us.
Dude, I'll tell you. I'll tell you the David Blaine story. I might end up doing this in my stand-up too, so I don't care. You guys can hear it here first. I am in a like a diner. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I'm in a diner, and I'm there, and I'm with somebody else, and they're across from me. Okay, and behind them in the door, I see 2 people come walking in. And this girl walks in, and she's wearing a white sheer shirt.
This in L.A.?
No, this is in Carmel.
Okay.
Okay, so everything's quaint,
Mhm.
right? And she's wearing
That's Clint Eastwood's town.
Mm-hmm. And so she's wearing a sheer shirt that you can see everything she's been gifted, everything.
Yeah.
And I'm a restaurant away. I'm at the back, and I can still see everything. And so I say to my friend, I'm like, look, look behind. You look at this girl who couldn't give any shits about anyone looking at her breasts right now, right? And so my friend like turns to look, and they go, well, they saw me looking. The couple saw, and I'm like, they did not, okay? And then she's like doing calisthenics, like stretching out. And I go, you gotta see it. And she's with this like Middle Eastern guy who just looked very, I'm so cool that I'm here, right? And so I can't, I'm like, this is the audacity. I just love the audacity. You're gonna see, I don't care. So then the couple ends up being sat 2 tables down from me. And my friend's like, that was, you made me look at that. And I'm like, I did not. They didn't even see. Right? So we're sitting there. And a couple seconds later, this guy gets up, right? And he walks. I'm looking on my peripheral. And he walks. And he starts coming this way towards me. And then he walks around my table and walks right up to me. And I think...
The guy sitting with her.
Yeah. And I think... My first thought is like, because it happens every once in a while. I'm like, podcast fan. Well, no, I haven't taken back. I first thought he saw us looking at her tits. Yeah. And now we're going to have, over Eggs Benny, we're going to fucking sort this out. In my defense would be like, put a scarf on.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So, but I look up and it's a friendly face. So in that split second of like just seeing like a half smile, I thought, oh, maybe so rare, but maybe it's a podcast fan. Maybe. So I give the back like, hi. And then the guy goes, I want you to pick a card.
Oh my God. Nuh-uh.
Yeah. And I look up. And it's David Blaine.
And do you know that? Do you know him
I
at
figured
this
it
point?
out.
Okay.
In that moment, I put together the cards and the guy and the disproportionately very hot chick. And I'm like, oh. And so then he's like, it's good to meet you. And it's everything.
Did you say you're David Blaine?
I go, I'm a big fan, you know? And I'm like,
of your girlfriend's titties.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, oh, big fan. He's like, thank you very much.
I
want you to grab a card. And for everybody who's offended by my David Blaine accent,
that's exactly how he sounds.
He goes, I want you to pick a card. And I go, okay. And then he's like, all right, well, hold on. I want you to think of a number, but make that number. And he does all that like magic talk to you where somehow they're getting you. He was like, make it 3 numbers, but make them in descending order. Neither of them, you can't have an 8 and a 4, and you have to say them in the order. So, for example, you would say 963, right? And then you, whatever that made you think of, that's the number I said, where you're like, all right, 741. So I say the number.
I had 421.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So I say the number, and then he like does the trick, and he's like, pretty good. And I go, yeah. So and in my head, I'm like, you don't know the exchange that I thought you knew me. I first thought you were mad at me for looking at your girlfriend's breasts, and all of us are just trying to have brunch. And so he like does the trick, and then he like goes to leave.
Does he get your number?
Yeah, it works. Come on. It works. The number I said was like a card that he had already written on. And it still
was there already.
Yes, and it was already like, great tits, right? Like that's what it said on the card.
Did it really?
No, wouldn't that be phenomenal?
Oh my God. That would be the greatest trick of all time, dude.
The greatest. But my thing is the thing he thinks here's the thing, right? Ready? He thought from the moment he walked in that I was staring at his. So he's probably standing there being like, look at these two. They don't stop looking at me. I'm going to have to put on the show.
Let me go give him the deck real quick.
Everywhere I go, these people always see David Blaine. I had no clue. None at all. So think of all the different levels that have happened here before we finally land on the same page. He thinks I'm looking at him. I'm looking at her. I think he might be a podcast fan. Then I figure out who he is.
Well, you also think he might be pissed that
Yes,
you don't know his
so
girlfriend's
there's
tits.
that level too. Yeah. So then he does the trick and he's like, and of course, everyone around us. That's the other thing too. I feel so stupid for the moment I thought it might have been someone who knew me from podcasting. But he also went, and he doesn't know this, that he went through the same feeling of thinking someone knew him from magic.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it doesn't, none of us are right.
Could you imagine if you got up and went over and started just telling some jokes at the table real
Oh,
quick?
yeah,
Like, oh, that's not why you recognize
Yeah,
me?
100%. So then he does the whole trick, right? And it all goes really, really well. And then he goes and leaves. And you could feel in the room that everyone at this point figures out who this is. And they're like, wasn't that nice of David Blaine? And I'm like, have her stand up.
Yeah.
And do
That's the real trick
right,
over
that's
there.
the show.
Yeah.
So then he like he sits back down and people are like, oh, it's so lucky that happened to you. And I'm still reeling from putting together this, path that we all got to here. And then I start driving down the coast. Well, before I leave, I go, hey man, I have to get a picture with you because I need to, remember this happened. Can we just grab? He was like, either I was getting ready to leave or I think I was. And he goes, yeah, but we have to sit in the booth together on the same side to take it. And I go, okay. So he has to control like everything. Yeah, and when you're a magician, that's the most control ever. Like,
And he's not just a regular magician. He's the dude that's like, I'll sit in a block of ice for 3 days.
We have he falls into a category that I think could have existed in almost any type of American pop culture of any era. Because we really don't have any, but we don't have like many just we have like Instagram and shit like that. But we don't have people that are like, oh, you're famous and it isn't for, we don't know why, and it isn't for movies and it isn't for TV. You're a character in pop culture. Obviously it's for magic, but like I think he could have been at any time. So he's like, yeah, we can do that, but we have to sit in the booth together on the same side. And I'm like, oh, fine. What? Okay, let's do it. So then I go to leave, and I'm driving down through Big Sur, and every time I stop, 2 minutes later, here comes David Blaine and his girlfriend. And I am spending like
They're just pulling up.
Yeah,
like
because everybody's like at the same little things.
He's like, you look over and he's like, I got your watch.
But I'm also watching as he gets out, other people are like, look at this girl's tits. And David Blaine's like, I forget we're podcasting. He's waving. He's like, he's acknowledging that everyone is happy to see him.
We have video here.
I know,
They'll see
but
that.
some people are still rocking with that audio. That he's acknowledging like, hello, how are you? And no one's looking at him. No, he is not the main attraction for what's happening. And I'm not even saying on an objectifying sexual way. Just in society, you're going to be like, look at this.
Look at the tits over here real quick.
Even if a guy,
that's David Blaine.
Right, if
Yeah,
you're
that's the
stopping
order
at
it
Big
goes in.
Sur and there's a guy who keeps getting out wearing an umbrella hat and a scarf, and that's it. You're not objectifying him. You're pointing out, look who's not conforming to the rest of what we're doing here in society. Oh, it was perfect, man. It was so perfect. But to me, it was also, and why I thought it was here, it was just that moment, that split second where I was like, hello? And it was like, no.
My buddy did that one time. Anthony Biasella is his name. We were old high school friends, and he had ended up moving to Florida with family down to like Port St. Lucie, I think it was. And this is back when Shaq played for the Magic. He was out at a club one night, and Anthony's a little Italian dude. He's like a wrestler, stocky dude, really good at wrestling. But his dad was like, his dad one time came up to us in high school and was like, his name was Albert, and he goes, anybody messing with you kids? And we're like, no, we're good. We can handle our own. He's like, all right, well, if you do, I can have them killed and never found for $50. And he walked away, and we're like, Jesus fucking Christ. And I don't know if he was joking or if he wasn't joking.
The $50 makes it feel like a joke.
It fucking scared the shit out of me. But I'll tell you what, I keep 50 on me. You know what I'm saying? I keep 50 in the glove compartment just in case I need to make that call.
Oh, that's so
But
funny.
He was out at a club one night, and he called me, and he was like, Ryan, I am just humiliated. And he said, Shaq, he's short, but Shaq's in front of him, a few people up, And Shaq just turns around and, throws him a heads up. And my buddy's like, "What's up, Shaq?" And then he hears the guy right behind him start talking. "What's up, Shaq?" He's like, "What's up, Ernie?" And he's like, he wasn't talking to him or looking at him or anything. He said he got out of line and just went home. He was humiliated.
Did I ever tell you my Boston story?
I don't think so.
I got done at the Wilbur, all right, and I had my book bag with me. And at the Wilbur Theater, you come from the back of the venue outside up to the front of the sidewalk. And in order to do that, the path you walk when you exit the Wilbur from the outside back door is it brings you right up to the club where Hernandez was the night that he killed that dude.
Oh, that, okay.
Yeah. And so I'm walking up from the back, and there's a guy in front of me. I'm going to have to ask him to move to get around him, right? And what I notice as I get up to him is he's directing who gets to go into the club and who doesn't. And so he says to me, I go, "Hey, man, sorry about that." And he goes, whoa, you're here?" And I go, yeah. I just got done at the Wilbur. And I'm like, "I know you?" I go, "Yeah, I just got done at the Wilbur." He's like, "Oh, man, are you coming in?" And I go, "No." He's like, "Oh, come on, you got to come in, And I go, now, there's one thing in my family. Always say yes, because you can leave.
That's right.
Always say yes. See where it goes.
The story, man.
Right. I wouldn't say don't always go to a second location. But see where the first location goes. And so he goes, "You want to come in?" And I go, "I don't know. I just got done with it." I'm going to lean in on this. I just get done. He's like, "Come on, dude. We're having a party tonight. You should come in." And there's people just vying to try and get. He's like, "Hold on. I'm talking to him right now." And I go, I don't know. I'm tired. He goes, "Come on. You got your computer with you?" And I did. And I go, "Yeah." And he's like, "You want to DJ a set?" And I go, "What?" And he's like, "If you don't want to DJ, you don't have to. I'm just saying if you feel like it and you got your computer."
I'm trying to figure out who the fuck he thinks you are.
I know. He goes, "We'd love to have you go up." And I go, "I don't know. Can I think about it?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, this fucker thinks that I'm some DJ he knows that's played this club or he is thrilled might play the club tonight. Also, he must not understand what happens at the Wilbur Theater. And he works below it. Right? It's all, I guess you could have a concert there, right? But a DJ concert? Anyway, maybe you guys will tell me in the comments that there's tons of DJs play the Wilbur. So I go, I don't know. And he's like, "I'm just saying, you come in tonight, you have a good time. You don't want to DJ, don't DJ. But if you do, great." I go, "All right, I'll come in. I'll think about it." He's like, "Hold on one sec. Let me let these guys in first." Now, he's got a whole thing of red wristbands in one hand. But then in his other hand, he's got a whole bunch of yellows. So these guys walk up. He puts the reds away, and he puts all the yellows on these guys. And everybody else who he was letting, he was just giving reds to. So these guys all get yellows. So then he goes, all right, come on, now you. And he takes the yellow and he puts it around me. And I go, "What's this for?" And he's like, "It's for the party. It's in the back. Come on, come with me, So we go down and he's like, "No, if you want, you can party back over there. Obviously the bar is fine. You got the wristband, so you're all good." So then he just walks away. And now I'm standing in this club on a Saturday night in Boston by myself with a fucking book bag. There's a party going on in the back that I guess I can go to, right? So there's a door guy like next to me, security guy, who's just down there. And I go, "Hey, man, where do I go if I want this?" He's like, "Oh, you're here for the party?" And I go, yeah, I guess. And he's like, "Come on." And so then he walks me back into the room. He walks me in. It's me and all guys, all white guys, all big white guys. And then I'm like standing in this room. I go, "I guess I'll get a drink." So I get a drink, and a guy comes up to me, and he goes, "What are you doing here?" And now, you have to know when to stop lying, right?
Yeah.
Because I can tell the truth,
right.
And this guy's going to be like, oh, whatever. Or I can lie, and he's going to know I'm lying, and now I'm in a room that I don't want to piss anybody off. So I go, first of all, what is this? He goes, "It's our party." I go, "For what?" He's like, "Season starts tomorrow." I go, "What?" And he's like, "We're the Boston Bruins."
You're in there with the Bruins.
I am in a room with every single member of the Boston Bruins, and I have never been more happy that I didn't lie in my entire life. Because hockey players will beat the shit out of you.
They're tight ends on skates.
Oh my
They will
God.
destroy
for
you.
any reason. Like, hey guys, I found a reason to fight somebody.
Yeah.
So I go, what? And that's why they're all white and they're all big, except for the short ones are the ones who look the most like they will kick the shit out of you. You're fucking, what's his name? I'm sorry, Boston, for not remembering. Bouchard, but what's their main guy? You guys will know, and I shouldn't know. Cause, yeah. I know Andrew Shaw.
Right?
I'm a Chicago black.
Is that right?
No.
I don't know. I might be making that
Brad
up.
Marchand.
Marchand. Okay.
I'm with you.
Where are you?
So
I don't know if that's right either.
So I am. I would say I knew in that room.
I think that
That's
guy
how
I mentioned
confident
was a guy I went to school with.
I mean, we can Tuukka Rask. Okay. So anyway, I know some Bruins, and so I go. And he goes, "We're the Boston Bruins. This is our last. We find out tomorrow who makes the team and who doesn't. So they want to drink, right? Because there's a lot of guys on the bubble, and then all the other guys are veterans, are like ready to start the season. So there's a lot of energy in the air. And they go, again, who are you? And I go, I'm a fucking comic. I'm a comic who walked out of the Wilbur, and that dude who runs this place that let you in thinks I'm a DJ, so he gave me a wristband in case I wanted to play any sort of music here, of which I can do none. I got a lot of classic rock on this computer, and I don't think anybody wants to hear it. I'm just like talking.
Yeah.
I'm like, so I just followed to see where this went, and I ended up in here. I've ordered one drink. If you want me to pay for it, I gladly will. And the guy looks at me, and he goes, that's fucking awesome. Guys, this fucking dude's a comic. I was there till 4 in the morning. I swear to God. Dude, I was there till 4 in the morning, and I'm like, the whole time, I'm like, I can't leave because how many people in Boston wish they could be in this room?
Killing.
I'm doing it for them.
Killing
you
to be there.
you just end up at a Boston Bruins party, and there's these guys and their kids. So they're some of the ones that are in there. I think they didn't give a shit because it was the Bruins, so there's probably some 18 and 19s because there's 19-year-olds in NHL for sure. There's one on the Blackhawks. So they were all just like, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to make the team. We're going to find out tomorrow. They were excited. I partied with the entire team. They passed me around. They're like, hey, come here. He is a comic. This guy is a comic. They're all like Russian. You tell funny jokes. You fucking tell. Like it was all.
Leave.
Yeah. I'm like, all right, I got to get going.
Leave.
Oh, that's great, dude.
Yeah, it was so much fun.
Well, unfortunately, we do have to leave. We got to get out of here. We got some things we have to take care of here at the studio. But dude, thank you as always for coming on. I love you to death. You're
Love you
always
too.
You're the best. Again, please promote everything.
All right, guys, you can see me on the road. The day this drops, in the 11th, I will be in Nashville. The 12th, I am in Louisville. The 13th, Cincinnati. The 14th of November in Milwaukee. And the 15th, I end the Together Tour. I think it's going to be 47 cities by the
That's
time
amazing,
I hit
dude.
Rochelle, Illinois on November 15th, which is also the day my first album drops. It's called Thanks, Diane. Go to danielvankirk.com if you're still in that window before it's dropped. You can pre-order it in the iTunes app store. I think it's also in Amazon as well. But once the 15th comes out, I would appreciate it if people just stream it, listen to it, check it out. You'll get a track right away if you pre-sale it called Don't Be a Dick, which is some advice that I have in a funny way of how to live life. And I hope you guys had as much fun as I did, and you check everything out that I do.
Awesome. Everybody go get that album. As always, thank you again for being here. I love you, dude. I am Ryan Sickler on all social media, ryansickler.com. We'll talk to you all next week.